The fortress of Warlord Krath hung in the darkness at the edge of Dracnoth space. It was built into a massive asteroid, reinforced with shields and weapon systems. Inside its cold metal halls, Krath stood before a display showing the galaxy he planned to destroy. He was larger than most Dracnoth, his scales black as night. Scars covered his body from 100 battles. He had been Vextar's enforcer, the one sent to break worlds that resisted too hard. Now, with his empire fallen, he refused to accept defeat. "They think they can defeat us," Krath growled to his followers. "These soft humans with their talk of justice and mercy. I'll show them what true power looks like." Around him, 50 other Dracnoth commanders stood, all of them refusing to surrender. They had stolen 12 doomsday devices from secret military facilities. Each weapon could ignite a star, causing it to go supernova and destroy everything within several light years. "If we cannot rule the galaxy," Krath declared, "then no one will. I want those weapons armed and ready. If the humans come for us, we'll take half the galaxy with us when we die." Far across space, Admiral Hyun Kang stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, studying tactical displays. The situation was worse than anyone had expected. Krath's forces were distributed across 12 different systems, each one holding a doomsday weapon. "Attacking even one would trigger the others. We need a simultaneous strike," Hyun said. "Hit all 12 locations at once. Give them no time to react." "That spreads our forces thin," Commander Jiho pointed out. "We'd be sending small teams against fortified positions." "I know, but it's our only option." Hyun turned to Captain Sora, who had joined the command staff. "Captain Lim, I need your expertise. These will be stealth operations. Infiltration, not invasion," Sora nodded. "My team can handle one target. We'll need 11 more teams trained in special operations." "You'll have them," Hyun promised. "Colonel Do-hyun is already assembling Marine units. You'll each have the best people we have." In another part of the ship, young Kira found Ambassador Nari in an observation deck, looking out at the stars. The old woman seemed tired, the weight of centuries pressing on her shoulders. "Ambassador Nari," Kira asked quietly, "can I ask you something?" Nari smiled gently. "Of course, child. Everyone says humans are heroes, that you came back to save us. But are you afraid? Does it scare you that so many people depend on you?" Nari was quiet for a moment. "Yes, every day. The responsibility is enormous. What if we fail? What if we're not strong enough or smart enough? What if we make the wrong choice? Then why do you do it?" "Because someone has to," Nari replied. "Because we have the power to help, and with power comes responsibility. My grandmother taught me that. Her grandmother taught her. For 300 years, every generation of humans has prepared for this moment. Not because we wanted power, but because we knew someday people would need us." She looked at Kira. "You lost your family because no one was strong enough to stop the Dracnoth. We could have stayed hidden. We could have let the galaxy tear itself apart, but that would make us no better than those who have the power to help, but choose not to use it." Kira thought about this. "What happens after? When Krath is defeated and the galaxy is safe, then the real work begins," Nari said. "Building a galaxy where everyone is protected. Where species work together instead of fighting. Where young girls like you never have to watch their homes burn." She put a gentle hand on Kira's shoulder. "That's the galaxy we're trying to create. The preparations took 3 days. Captain Sora trained her infiltration team relentlessly. Each person knew their role perfectly. They studied blueprints of Dracnoth fortifications. They practiced disabling the doomsday weapons in simulators hundreds of times. Dr. Taeyang briefed them on Dracnoth psychology. Krath and his followers believe they're warriors. They value strength above all else. They won't surrender easily, even when defeated. Be prepared for them to fight to the death. "Then we'll be ready for anything," Sora replied. On the 4th day, the operation began. 12 human teams launched simultaneously from different ships, each heading for a different target. The timing had to be perfect. If even one team failed, Krath would trigger all the weapons. Sora's team approached their target, a Dracnoth command post built into a moon in the Sarvan system. They flew in complete stealth, invisible to every sensor. The silent dawn deposited them on the surface, then retreated to a safe distance. The team moved across the barren landscape like ghosts. Special suits masked their heat signatures. Dampeners eliminated sound. They were invisible, silent, deadly. They breached the facility through a maintenance hatch that Dracnoth arrogance had left poorly guarded. Inside, they moved through corridors with practiced efficiency. Every corner checked. Every threat neutralized before it could raise an alarm. In other systems, 11 other teams conducted similar operations. Each one flawlessly executed. Each one moving toward their target without being detected. Sora's team reached the central chamber where the doomsday weapon was housed. It was a massive device glowing with unstable energy. 5 Dracnoth guards stood watch. Sora gave hand signals. Her team moved as one, 5 precise shots. 5 guards dropped unconscious before they hit the floor. Sora approached the weapon's control panel. This was the critical moment. She had 30 seconds to disable it before automated systems detected the tampering. Her fingers flew across the controls, following the sequence Dr. Taeyang had developed. 20 seconds, 15, 10. The weapon powered down just as alarms began to blare. Package secured, Sora reported over the secure channel. Moving to extraction. Across the galaxy, similar reports came in. One by one, all 12 teams reported success. All 12 doomsday weapons disabled. Not a single human casualty. In his fortress, Krath watched in horror as every indicator turned red. All 12 weapons offline. All 12 garrisons reporting human infiltration. Impossible. How could they have hit every target simultaneously? "Launch all fighters," Krath roared. "I'll destroy them myself." But it was too late. Admiral Heun's fleet emerged from FTL surrounding the fortress. The Indomitable alone was larger than Krath's entire remaining force. "Warlord Krath," Heun's voice broadcast across all channels. "Your weapons are disabled. Your forces are surrounded. This is over. Surrender now and you will face trial. Resist and we will take you by force." Krath's claws dug into his command chair. Surrender? Never. He was Dracnoth. He was a warrior. He would die before he submitted to these humans. "All ships, attack," he ordered. The Dracnoth fighters launched. They flew with suicidal bravery, knowing they couldn't win but refusing to back down. The human fleet responded with devastating precision, not destroying the fighters but disabling them. Every shot carefully calculated to neutralize without killing. Within minutes, the Dracnoth fighter force was drifting helplessly in space, their pilots alive but unable to fight. The fortress's shields collapsed under sustained fire from the Indomitable. Colonel Do-hyun's Marines breached the fortress. They moved through it like a wave, encountering fierce resistance. The Dracnoth soldiers fought with desperate courage. But courage alone couldn't overcome superior training, technology, and tactics. Do-hyun reached the command center to find Krath waiting, armed with a massive energy blade. The warlord charged with a roar. Do-hyun dodged, his armor's enhanced reflexes making him faster than the Dracnoth expected. He brought his stun weapon up, but Krath knocked it aside. They fought hand to hand. Krath was larger, stronger, but Do-hyun was faster, better trained. The battle raged across the command center. Finally, Do-hyun found an opening. He ducked under Krath's swing and delivered a precise strike to the nerve cluster on the warlord's neck. Krath collapsed, unconscious. "Target secured," Do-hyun reported. "All hostiles neutralized. No casualties on either side." On the Indomitable's bridge, Admiral Hyun allowed himself a small smile. "Excellent work, everyone. Bring them in for trial." The news spread across the galaxy instantly. Humanity had stopped the doomsday threat without firing a single lethal shot. 12 simultaneous operations perfectly executed. The galaxy watched in awe. 1 year later, the galaxy looked very different. The Dracnoth homeworld of Draknor had a new government, elected by its people for the first time in their history. Vextar and Krath stood trial for war crimes. The trial was broadcast across all worlds. Both were found guilty. Both were sentenced to life imprisonment, with the provision that they spend their time helping to rebuild the worlds they had destroyed. Surprisingly, Vextar accepted this fate with something resembling grace. Months of imprisonment, of watching humans treat even their worst enemies with dignity, had changed him. He would spend the rest of his life trying to repair the damage he had caused. Krath remained defiant to the end, but even he couldn't deny the evidence of his crimes. The new Galactic Charter was officially adopted. Humanity established peacekeeping stations across the galaxy, but they did more than just patrol. They offered technology, education, medical aid. They worked to lift up every species, not dominate them. Ambassador Nari, now over 94 years old, sat in the reformed Galactic Council chambers. Around her sat representatives from every species, working together to solve problems through discussion rather than force. The conference hall floated in space, a massive ring of metal and glass that orbited the beautiful planet below. Inside, representatives from 47 different alien species sat in their designated seats. Some looked like insects with too many legs. Others resembled walking trees or floating crystals. At the very back in the smallest section sat the humans from Earth. Ambassador Hyunwoo adjusted his collar and tried to stay calm. He had been Earth's voice in the Galactic Unity Council for 5 years now. It had not been easy. The other species looked down on humans. They called Earth's people primitive. They said humans were too violent, too young, too stupid to be part of the galaxy's elite club. Today felt different, though. Today felt worse. Admiral Taemin watched the meeting from Earth through a hologram screen. His gray hair and wrinkled face showed his age, but his eyes were sharp. He stood in the military command center, arms crossed, jaw tight. Something bad was coming. He could feel it. On the space station, a tall insect-like creature stood up. Its name was High Chancellor Vel, and it led the Velkari Empire. The Velkari were one of the most powerful species in the Council. Their technology was centuries ahead of Earth's. Their ships could cross the galaxy in days. Their weapons could destroy planets. "I call for a vote," Vel said. Its voice clicked and buzzed, translated into English by the station's computers. "The matter is simple. Earth must be removed from this council." Hyunwoo jumped to his feet. "What? On what grounds?" "You are dangerous," Vel said. Its multifaceted eyes reflected the lights like 1,000 tiny mirrors. "Your species fights wars over resources, over beliefs, over land. You have only been in space for a few generations, yet you already try to claim systems that are not yours. You expand too fast. You ask too many questions. You refuse to follow the old ways." "We have followed every rule," Hyunwoo said. His voice shook with anger. "We have paid every tax. We have honored every treaty. What you call dangerous, we call ambition. What you call expansion, we call survival." A few species murmured agreement, but most stayed silent. Another alien stood up, this one looking like a floating blob of water held together by some invisible force. "The Velkari speak truth. Humans are unpredictable. They should return to their corner of space until they grow up." "We are not children," Hyunwoo said. "We deserve our place here." Vel laughed, a horrible clicking sound. "You deserve nothing. You were allowed to join because we felt generous. That generosity has ended. Your coordinates will be blacklisted. Your trade agreements are void. You have 30 days to remove all humans from council space." "You cannot do this," Hyunwoo said. "We can." "We are," Vel said. "Vote now." The voting began. Hyunwoo watched the board light up with colors. Red meant a vote to exile Earth. Green meant a vote to let Earth stay. Blue meant abstaining from the vote. The red lights kept coming. One after another, species voted to kick Earth out. Some voted green, species that had worked with humans before, but it was not enough. Final vote, 39 to exile. 8 to keep Earth. 47 total, Earth was out. Hyunwoo felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. 5 years of work, 5 years of building relationships, making friends, proving that humans belonged. All gone in one vote. Vel walked down to where Hyunwoo stood. The alien towered over him, its legs making soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. "Let me be clear," Vel said. "Your species is too dangerous and too stupid to walk among the stars. Go back to your little planet. Play with your primitive rockets. Maybe in 1,000 years you will be ready, but I doubt it." The word stung worse than any weapon. On Earth, Taemin watched the whole thing, his hands curled into fists. The other officers in the command center looked at him, waiting for orders, waiting for rage. But Taemin just smiled. It was a cold smile, a dangerous smile. "Remember this day," he said quietly. "Remember how they laughed at us." Dr. Nari stood beside him. She was 32 years old, one of the smartest scientists Earth had ever produced. She specialized in quantum physics, but she also understood alien technology better than anyone else. "Admiral," she said softly, "what do we do now? Now?" Taemin looked at the screen where Hyunwoo was gathering his things, preparing to leave the station in shame. "Now we stop trying to be like them. We stop following their rules. We stop asking for permission." "What do you mean?" "I mean we disappear," Taemin said. "We go dark. We take our 12 colonies and we vanish from the galaxy. Let them forget about us. Let them think we crawled back to Earth to die. And then And then we build something they have never seen before, Taman said. Something they cannot imagine. Something that will make them regret this day. Nari felt a chill run down her spine. She knew that look in Taman's eyes. It was the look of a man who had made a decision, a man who would not be stopped. 30 days later, every human left Council space. Earth closed its borders. The 12 human colonies went silent, their signals disappearing from the galactic network. To the rest of the galaxy, it looked like humanity had given up and gone home to sulk. But that was not what happened. In secret facilities on Earth and Mars and Europa, scientists began working on projects that had been forbidden by Council law. Projects that were too dangerous, too radical, too impossible. Taman gathered the best minds humanity had. Engineers, physicists, pilots, soldiers, doctors. He brought them all together. They think we are done, he told them. They think we are weak. They think we will fade away and be forgotten. He paused, looking at each face. Let them think that, because while they sleep comfortable in their superiority, we are going to become something new, something better, something they never saw coming. Nari stepped forward with her proposal. It was insane. It was impossible. It was exactly what they needed. We cannot beat them with bigger ships, she said. We cannot beat them with stronger weapons. Their technology is too advanced. So we do not try to beat them at their game. We change the game entirely, she explained her idea. Some people looked excited. Others looked horrified. Taman just nodded. How long? He asked. 10 years minimum, Nari said. Maybe 15. Maybe 20. Then we start today, Taman said. And we do not stop until we are ready. The project was given a name. Prometheus Initiative. In ancient human mythology, Prometheus was a titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. He was punished terribly for it, but humanity got to keep the fire. Taman thought that was a good name. 15 years had passed since the exile. Earth had changed. Not in ways that anyone outside could see, but deep down where it mattered. The 12 human colonies struggled. Without trade from the Council, resources became scarce. Food had to be rationed on some worlds. Ship fuel was expensive. People complained. Some said joining the Council had been a mistake from the start, but beneath the surface something incredible was happening. Dr. Nari had become the director of the Prometheus Initiative. She was 47 now, with streaks of gray in her black hair. She barely slept. The project consumed her every thought. The facility was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid between Mars and Jupiter. Nobody knew it was there except the few thousand people who worked inside it. The asteroid looked like any other rock floating in space, but inside, it held Earth's future. Captain Jiho walked through the medical bay. He was 28 years old, a starship pilot who had volunteered for something that might kill him. His hands shook slightly, but not from fear. From excitement. Are you sure about this? Dr. Nari asked him. They stood in front of a large machine that looked like a medical scanner, mixed with a computer server. Once we start, we cannot reverse it. Your brain will never be the same. I am sure, Jiho said. If this works, I want to be the first. Nari nodded. She respected his courage. The procedure was called neural enhancement. The idea was simple, but the execution was terrifying. They would inject millions of tiny machines into Jiho's brain and nervous system. These machines, smaller than blood cells, would connect his mind directly to computer systems, but not just any computers. Quantum computers that could process information faster than anything the Council had ever built. The goal was to create a pilot who could think at the speed of light, who could feel a spaceship as if it were his own body, who could predict enemy movements before they happened. If it worked, one enhanced human could do what 100 normal pilots could do. If it failed, Jiho would die or go insane. Lie down, Nari said softly. Jiho climbed onto the medical bed. Restraints closed over his arms and legs, not to hold him down, but to keep him safe from his own thrashing. The procedure would hurt. A lot. Admiral Taman watched from an observation window above. He was 73 now, old and tired. But he had to see this. Everything depended on this moment. The machine started. Jiho's eyes went wide. His body went rigid. Through the glass, they could hear him screaming. The procedure took 6 hours. For the first 3 hours, Jiho screamed. For the last 3, he was silent, and that silence was somehow worse. When it ended, he lay still on the table. The monitors showed his brain activity had increased by 300%. His heart rate was steady. His breathing was normal. But was he still Jiho? His eyes opened. "Captain?" Nari asked carefully. "Can you hear me?" "I can hear you," Jiho said. His voice sounded different, calmer, deeper. "I can hear the power running through the walls. I can hear the air circulation system 3 floors down. I can hear your heartbeat, Doctor." "You are nervous. How do you feel?" Jiho sat up. The restraints opened automatically. He looked at his hands as if seeing them for the first time. "I feel everything," he said. "It is like I was blind before and now I can see. Or deaf and now I can hear. The universe is so much bigger than I thought." "Can you pilot a ship?" Taemin asked through the intercom. Jiho looked up at the window where the admiral stood. "Sir," he said, and he smiled. "I can be the ship." The test flight happened 3 days later. They gave Jiho a small scout craft, nothing fancy. The kind of ship any decent pilot could fly. What Jiho did with it should have been impossible. He made the ship dance. He spun it through asteroid fields at speeds that should have killed him from the G-forces alone. He dodged obstacles before the sensors even detected them. He flew in patterns that no human or alien pilot had ever attempted. When he landed, the entire observation team stood in stunned silence. "It works," Nari whispered. "It works," Taemin agreed. Within a month they had 10,000 volunteers. Within 6 months 5,000 had completed the procedure successfully. Some died, some went mad. But most survived, and those who did became something new. Something more. Counselor Bora did not like the project. She was part of Earth's civilian government, responsible for overseeing military spending. She thought they were playing with forces they did not understand. "You are changing what it means to be human," she told Taemin during a meeting in the Earth capital. "That is not your decision to make." "They volunteered," Taemin said. "Every single one chose this. Because you told them it was necessary to defend Earth." "It is necessary." Bora shook her head. "What if the Council finds out? What if they see this as a threat?" "They already see us as a threat," Taemin said. "That is why they kicked us out. At least now we will actually be dangerous." The enhanced pilots began training together. They discovered something unexpected. When they flew near each other, their enhanced minds could connect. Share information instantly. Coordinate perfectly without speaking. Nari called it the Aegis Network. A dozen pilots could fly as one organism, each knowing what the others would do before they did it. They started building new ships too. Not big, slow battleships like the Council used. Small, fast fighters that could turn on a coin and accelerate like missiles. The enhanced pilots did not need thick armor or heavy shields. They were too fast to get hit. The ships had a new type of engine based on quantum physics. It could make the ship partially exist in 2 places at once, allowing it to slide through space in ways that normal engines could not. The Council had banned this type of engine as too unstable. Earth did not care about the ban anymore. Meanwhile, intelligence reports came in from the few spies Earth still had in Council space. The news was bad. The Velkari Empire had grown aggressive. After Earth left, Vel decided that the Council was weak. The Velkari started conquering other species. 3 former Council members had already fallen. Their worlds were now Velkari colonies, their people slaves. The Council was fracturing. Some species wanted to fight back. Others wanted to surrender and hope for mercy. "They will come for us eventually," Jiho said during a meeting with the other enhanced pilots. There were now 7,000 of them, the best and brightest humanity had to offer. "The Velkari will not be satisfied with just the Council. They will want Earth too." "Let them come," another pilot said. Her name was Yuna, a fierce woman who had been a fighter pilot before the enhancement. "We will be ready, but would they be ready in time?" That was the question that kept Taemin awake at night. He stood on the balcony of his apartment looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was tearing itself apart. Wars were being fought. Species were being enslaved. The Council that had exiled Earth now faced destruction. Part of him wanted to let them burn. They had humiliated humanity, cast them out like garbage. Why should Earth help? But another part of him, the part that still believed in doing what was right, knew they could not stand by. "We will be ready," he said to the empty sky. "And when the time comes, they will see what humanity can do." On a secret moon base, the first Shadow Fleet ships were being assembled. 200 sleek black fighters that looked like knives cutting through space, each one piloted by an enhanced human connected to the Aegis network. Earth was not done. Earth was just getting started. 23 years after the exile, a message arrived at Earth that nobody expected. It came through secret channels, encrypted with codes that only a few people in the galaxy knew. Ambassador Hyunwoo, now much older with gray hair and tired eyes, received it in his home. The message was from the Galactic Unity Council, the same council that had thrown Earth out all those years ago. They were begging for help. Hyunwoo read the message 3 times to make sure he understood correctly. The Velkari Empire had grown into a monster. 6 species had been conquered and enslaved. The Council's military was losing every battle. High Chancellor Vel, the same alien who had insulted humanity, was now planning a final attack that would destroy the Council completely. "They want us to save them," Hyunwoo said out loud in his empty apartment. He laughed, but it was not a happy sound. After everything they said, after everything they did, they want us to save them. He sent the message to Earth's government. Within hours, an emergency meeting was called. The leaders of Earth and the 12 colonies gathered in a secure video conference. Admiral Yuna spoke first. She had been promoted to Admiral 5 years ago after Tae-min retired. She was 42 now, battle-hardened and sharp. "This could be a trap," she said. "The Velkari might be using the Council to lure us out of hiding. Or it could be real," said Commander Jiho. He was 43 now, the most experienced enhanced pilot alive. His once black hair had white streaks from the stress the enhancement put on his body. "If the Council falls, the Velkari will control half the galaxy. Eventually they will come for us." Councillor Bora, now the head of Earth's government, shook her head. "Why should we help them? They abandoned us. They called us stupid and dangerous. They laughed at us." "Because it is the right thing to do," Hyunwoo said quietly. "We are not them. We do not abandon people who need help, even if they hurt us before." The debate went on for hours. Some wanted revenge to let the Council burn. Others wanted to help but were afraid of the cost. They had spent 23 years in hiding, building their strength. If they revealed themselves now, there was no going back. Finally, Bora made a decision. "We help them," she said, "but on our terms. They must publicly apologize for the exile. They must recognize Earth as an equal member of the Council, not a junior partner. And they must give us complete access to all their technology and resources." "They will never agree to that," someone said. "Then they can face the Velkari alone," Bora replied. Hyunwoo took the message back to the Council. 3 days later, they agreed to everything. They were that desperate. Now came the hard part. Earth had to actually save them. Admiral Yuna stood in the command center of the Shadow Fleet base, built inside a massive asteroid. Around her, hologram displays showed the 200 ships that Earth had built. Each one was small compared to Council battleships, barely bigger than a bus. But what they lacked in size, they made up for in capability. "Run the demonstration," she ordered. In space, 10 Shadow Fleet ships performed a test exercise. They moved in ways that should have been impossible. They spun and dove and accelerated instantly. They phased in and out of normal space, appearing in one spot and then another as if teleporting. The enhanced pilots flew them perfectly, their minds connected through the Aegis network. They did not need to communicate with words. They knew what each other would do before they did it. They moved like a school of fish, like a flock of birds, like one creature with many bodies. Watching from Earth, Councillor Bora felt her breath catch. "My God," she whispered. "We actually did it." Dr. Nari stood beside her. She was 62 now, her hair completely gray, but her mind was still sharp. "The quantum engines allow the ships to exist partially in multiple places at once," Nari explained. "The pilots can see a few seconds into the future, predicting where enemies will be. And the Aegis network lets them coordinate instantly across any distance. 1 pilot is impressive. 10 pilots are devastating. 200 pilots are unstoppable." "How do we know they are unstoppable?" Bora asked. "They have never fought a real battle." "We are about to find out," Yuna said. The Velkari fleet was gathering at Primus 7, the capital world of the Council. Intelligence reports said 5,000 Velkari warships were assembling there. The Council's defense fleet had only 800 ships, and most of those were old and poorly maintained. It would be a massacre, unless Earth arrived first. Commander Jiho gathered the enhanced pilots in the briefing room. 200 faces looked back at him. Some were young, barely 20. Others were his age or older. All of them had volunteered to have their brains altered, to become something more than human. We are about to do something that everyone said was impossible, Jiho told them. We are going to fight 5,000 enemy ships with only 200 of our own. The odds are terrible. The council thinks we are insane. The Velkari do not even know we exist yet. He paused, looking at each face. But we are not doing this for glory. We are not doing this for revenge. We are doing this because humanity does not abandon people in need. We are doing this to show the galaxy what we have become. And we are doing this to make sure that no species ever underestimates Earth again. The pilots stood as one and saluted. For Earth, they said together. For humanity, Jiho replied. The Shadow Fleet prepared to launch. Each pilot climbed into their ship's cockpit, but calling it a cockpit was misleading. It was more like a second skin. The moment they sat down, the ship became part of them. They could feel the hull as if it were their body. They could sense the engines as if they were their muscles. Through the Aegis network, they could feel each other too. 200 minds connected, sharing information, sharing instincts, sharing purpose. On Earth, Taman watched from his retirement home. He was 88 now, confined to a wheelchair. His body was failing, but his mind was still clear. Did we do the right thing? He asked Nari, who had come to visit him. Creating the enhanced pilots? Nari asked. Changing what it means to be human? Yes, Nari thought for a moment. I do not know if it was right, but it was necessary, and now we will find out if it was enough. In space, the Shadow Fleet activated their quantum engines. Normal ships would take weeks to reach Primus 7. The Shadow Fleet would arrive in less than a day. Ambassador Hyunwoo sent a final message to the Council. Earth is coming, the message said. Be ready. High Chancellor Vel received a similar message, but this one was different. You said we were too stupid to walk among the stars, the message said. You were wrong. Humanity is here, and you're about to learn what that means. The message was from Admiral Yuna. The Shadow Fleet jumped into quantum space, vanishing from normal reality. When they reappeared, it would be in the middle of the largest space battle the galaxy had ever seen. And everything would change. 3 months after the battle, the galaxy looked completely different. The Galactic Unity Council met again in the same space station where Earth had been exiled. But this time the atmosphere was different. The representatives spoke in hushed, respectful tones. And in the front row where the most important species sat, there was a new member. Ambassador Hyunwoo sat in Earth's chair, but this time it was not in the back of the room. It was front and center, equal to all the others. He was 73 now, but he sat tall and proud. Today was the official ceremony. High Chancellor Vel approached slowly. The once proud Velkari leader looked smaller now, defeated. The exile of Earth had been his idea. The attack on the council had been his people's doing. He had much to apologize for. Vel stopped in front of Hyunwoo. The entire council watched in silence. Ambassador Hyunwoo of Earth, Vel said, his voice clicking softly through the translator. On behalf of the Velkari people and the Galactic Unity Council, I apologize. We were wrong to exile you. We were wrong to call your species primitive. We were wrong about everything. He bowed his head, something Velkari rarely did. You saved us when you had every reason to let us fall. You showed mercy when we showed you none. You proved that wisdom comes not from age or technology, but from character. Earth and humanity have earned their place among us. More than that, you have earned our respect, Hyunwoo stood. For a moment, he just looked at Vel. All the anger, all the humiliation from 23 years ago came back. Part of him wanted to say something cruel, to hurt this alien the way he had been hurt, but that was not who humanity was. Apology accepted, Hyunwoo said simply. Let us move forward together. The council erupted in applause. The ceremony continued. Earth was officially reinstated as a council member with full rights and privileges, but that was just the beginning. Over the next weeks, 15 different species approached Dr. Nari with requests. They wanted the enhancement technology. They wanted to create their own pilots who could fly like humans did. Nari met with each species carefully. She was 63 now, and the years of work had made her wise. The technology is dangerous, she told them honestly. Not everyone survives the procedure. Some go insane, and even those who succeed are changed forever. They are no longer purely what they were before. We understand the risks, a representative from the Talari species said. The Talari looked like walking crystals that hummed with inner light. But we also saw what your pilots can do. We want that ability to defend ourselves. Then you may have it, Nari said, but under conditions. First, all volunteers must truly volunteer. No forcing anyone. Second, the technology cannot be used for conquest, only defense. Third, Earth will train your pilots personally to make sure they understand what it means to have this power. Most species agreed immediately. A few refused, saying the conditions were too strict. Nari let them refuse. Earth was not going to force anyone. The Velkari Empire was dismantled. Imperator Thax stood trial for his war crimes. The 6 species he had conquered were freed. Their worlds were returned to them. Thax was sentenced to life in prison but not executed. Earth had insisted on mercy even for him. We do not kill defeated enemies, Admiral Yuna had told the Council. We believe people can change. Even him. On Earth's moon, construction began on a massive new facility. It was called the Academy of Unity. Pilots from all species would come here to train together, to learn how to use the enhancement technology, and to understand the responsibility that came with such power. Commander Jiho was appointed as the head instructor. He was not happy about it at first. He wanted to keep flying, keep fighting, but someone had to teach the next generation. On the first day of classes, he stood in front of 200 students from 20 different species. Humans, Talari, Vexans, Morphids, and more. All of them had volunteered for the enhancement. All of them would undergo the same painful procedure he had experienced 25 years ago. The enhancement will change you, Jiho told them. You will never see the universe the same way again. You will be faster, smarter, more capable than you ever dreamed. But you will also be different from your own people. Some of your friends and family will fear you. Some will call you a monster. He paused, looking at each face. But you will also be part of something greater. The Aegis Network connects us all. Human, alien, it does not matter. When we fly together, we are one. And that unity is our greatest strength. A human student raised her hand. She was young, maybe 19. Sir, she said, why did Earth agree to share this technology? We could have kept it secret. We could have used it to rule the galaxy. Jiho smiled. Because ruling was never the goal. Understanding was. We did not become powerful to dominate others. We became powerful to protect others. There is a difference, the students thought about that. Training began the next day. It was brutal. Many students failed. Some died during the enhancement procedure despite all safety precautions. But those who succeeded formed bonds that transcended species. A human pilot and a Talari pilot could share thoughts through the Aegis network. They understood each other in ways that normal beings never could. 5 years later, the galaxy was a different place. The Galactic Unity Council was stronger than it had been in centuries. War between member species was unthinkable now. The Aegis network connected thousands of pilots from dozens of species. They were not just soldiers. They were peacekeepers, rescue workers, explorers, and at the center of it all was Earth. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had saved it. And in doing so, they had changed what it meant to be part of the galactic community. Admiral Taman died at the age of 93, peacefully in his sleep. The entire galaxy mourned. Ships from every species performed a ceremonial flyover of Earth. Millions came to his funeral. Dr. Nari spoke at the ceremony. Taman saw something in humanity that others missed, she said. He saw that our strength was not in our weapons or our technology. It was in our refusal to give up. Our refusal to be defined by others. Our refusal to become the very thing we fought against. She looked up at the sky where the ships flew in formation. He taught us that power without wisdom is tyranny. But wisdom without power is helplessness. Earth has both now. And we use them to build rather than destroy. To protect rather than conquer. That is his legacy. Ambassador Hyunwoo, now 81 and finally ready to retire, stood on Earth looking up at the stars. So much had changed since that day in the council chamber when they were exiled. So much pain, so much struggle. But it had been worth it. His grandson, a 10-year-old boy named Dae-jung, stood beside him. Grandfather, the boy asked, is it true that the aliens used to think humans were stupid? Hyunwoo smiled. Yes, they did. But they do not think that anymore? No, now they know better. What changed their minds? Hyunwoo thought for a moment. We did not try to prove we were smart by arguing with them. We proved it by showing them what we could do. Actions matter more than words. The boy nodded, not fully understanding but trusting his grandfather's wisdom. Somewhere in space, Commander Ji-Ho flew with his students on a training mission. The Aegis network hummed with shared thoughts and feelings. Humans, Talari, Vexans, and others, all connected, all working together. They flew past a memorial marker that floated in space. It had been placed at the exact spot where the Battle of Primus 7 had happened. On the marker, written in 47 languages, were simple words. Here, Earth proved that strength and mercy can coexist. Here, humanity showed the galaxy a better way. Here we learned that the greatest power is not the ability to destroy, but the wisdom to protect. And below that, one final line: never underestimate those who refuse to give up. The galaxy had learned that lesson well, and it would never forget. Humanity had walked among the stars not as conquerors but as guardians, and the universe was better for it.